I've always referred to Jason as being nonverbal, but I've recently realized that it's not really correct. Jason began to put phrases together at about age 8, though it was really echolalic. It wasn't at the time necessarily language he was learning, but he was just repeating what we were saying. So as a toddler, he did have limited vocabulary made up of words that really only close family members could understand. Things like buck peas meant bite please, or shara rise meant French fries. That's a whole other story. Um, but I was recently organizing and going through old family videos, and I came across some footage from between like 2005 and 2010 that show how well he was pronouncing words and phrases. And then I'm comparing those to today, and it shows that he was pronouncing words and phrases more clearly. He was using them more often, I think.
This is Jason. Jason, say hi.
Hi.
How old are you?
9 years old.
Oh, no, you're 14. How old are you?
To 14 years old.
14 years old. Who's this?
Mommy.
Mommy. I love you, Jason. Jace. I love you. I love you, Jason.
I love you, Jason.
I love you, Mommy.
Love you, Mommy.
Very good. What are you playing with? Jason, what are those? Are those marbles?
Yes.
And we were working, so we were full-time working parents, and he was in school, and we would juggle with family and his siblings and so on to make sure he was cared for while we were working or whatever. And it's a tough choice to make. But I have 4 kids, and his dad had 2 other boys. So you got to do what you got to do. But I look back and I realize that not really paying attention to what he was or was not learning in school, or not asking the right questions, assuming that based on what we saw at home, that was the best he was going to do. So we didn't push him. We also didn't push him because of his hitting and his putting his head through walls, and so frustrating, and we didn't want to push him. But I'm looking at the footage from before and compare it to videos today. I realize that we've limited his language development by enabling him to just mumble and slur through phrases, and not really encourage him and help him understand how important language could be to him in getting the things he wants and expressing his feelings. So it's like, in trying to keep him from hitting himself, we didn't push him to do the one thing that probably would have helped him stop hitting himself. So hindsight, I don't know. So when I say don't rub your nose, what are you going to do?
No.
No rubbing your nose?
Rubbing your nose.
Right. And if you rub your nose, what is Mommy going to do?
No Band-Aid.
No Band-Aid?
Yeah.
Okay, then no rubbing the nose.
Okay.
So we're trying to learn consequences, right?
Yes.
What's consequences?
Consequences.
That means when you do something, sometimes something else happens. So when you rub your nose, the consequence is you get a Band-Aid. Okay, understand that? Yeah. Maybe we did do the right thing, maybe we didn't. Who knows? But it's just something that now I look back and I think I wish that I would have known more. And I wish some of the experts would have given us some ideas or some options. I also found some treasures that remind me of his early love for music and his ability to repeat the lyrics and follow the rhythm almost perfectly. And he has perfect pitch. If you sing out of key, or if he hears something out of key, he doesn't want to hear it. It bothers him. and he can repeat something with absolute perfect match. So he has this love for music and rhythm. And I wonder, what difference would it have made if I'd have pushed that, encouraged him and pushed him a little bit more to expand that music and his language skills, His self-injurious behavior became the focus of everyone's day, whether he was at school or at home, and we listened to the doctor and the psychiatrist, the school counselor, the teacher, the principal, whoever, and tried to make changes based on their expertise. And that included medication, medicating him. So the hope was that we would help him to calm the anxiety and he'd be able to focus more. So we listened to the experts on all this over the years, and I've always been against it. From day one, I was against the drugs, but I was overruled, so we tried it. So over the years, he's gone from medication for ADHD to treat ADHD, which he doesn't have ADHD. He has autism. I know that ADHD sometimes can go with that diagnosis, but in this case, it was more anxiety. That's what I believe. And then normal stemming from the autism. But they tried drugs for ADHD, bipolar, depression, anxiety drugs, you name it. And then also went into psychotic drugs for that were antipsychotic drugs, all of these things. And he's still on medication basically for anxiety and also the antipsychotic drugs. So he's no longer putting his head through walls, but he still hits himself, and he still and it seems like he has more tics and stems now than he did before. He's developed some OCD tendencies, and I believe it's the medication, not the autism. So here I am, now fully in control of his every waking moment, other than the weekends, and I see that he's capable of so much more, and I feel this urgency to play catch up. So, should we try weaning him off all the medication slowly to see if it helps? Or do we leave well enough alone? I don't know if he'll be able to communicate how he feels through the process. We tried a few years ago to wean him off all medication. That was my request. I wanted to try it. He was having definite withdrawal symptoms, and there were things that he was doing, like doing this with his hands constantly. His dad was really upset, and his dad at the time was the one to take him to school every day, and he was getting all the phone calls from the school district because he worked in that school district, that Jason's behavior. So I felt pressured that we needed to put him back on medication. So we did. It was just too much for the family to adjust to at the time, but I'm thinking maybe it's time to look at that again. I just wish I knew the right thing to do. We don't know. And I want him at, he's going to be 29 next month. I want him to be able to advocate for himself, but how can he do that if he doesn't have the language skills to do so? Trying to work with him on the talk boards. I'm trying everything that I have seen done, and he's not responding well. He's fighting everything. So he's asserting his independence, but it's at the detriment of any development that might help ease the anxiety he's feeling. So it's almost like a Peter Pan syndrome. It's like, I don't want to grow up. Don't make me do these things. But I feel like it's my responsibility to make him do these things. So I'm at such a crossroads with this. And then I've got to fight the battle of whether or not to try going off medication again. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, please comment. Please give me some idea of any next step, or anything you've tried, or what you have read. Anything you can point me in the direction of some help, I would appreciate it. So, all right. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.